I have been very fortunate to have been privy to a tremendous amount of teachers that have walked the paths that to which I was attracted, and also I was a voracious reader as a teenager, and I just read so much. When most of my teenage friends were at parties, I was actually going too early to the parties and leaving really early and going home to read books that have really influenced my life in the most magnificent and most enthralling ways possible. Today I'd like to give you some of these recommendations because I see a lot of people in despair. I see a lot of people who are feeling that their lives are out of control, or other people are controlling their lives, and they're feeling very precipitous right now, like things are being taken away from them, their lives are being altered in ways in which they're not in agreement with. And I invite you to use this as an opportunity. It's always an opportunity. Everything that presents itself, the universe is a very loving universe. We live in a very loving and generous universe. And so maybe this is a call for you to just stop everything that you usually put your attention at. Stop doing the things you normally do and do something different. Maybe find quiet time to read. I'm going to recommend some books to you today. And please list below in the comments books you'd like to recommend to me and to others as well, that will open us up and help us to really feel inspired and motivated to live lives of tremendous meaning and living the life that we came here for. So we are lighthouses. Each one of us possesses within us a different part of a light that each of us possess, but each one possesses a different part of it. And when we show up fully embracing the inner workings of our being, then we become lighthouses to everyone else, but specifically to ourselves. And that's what matters. So I'm going to show you some books here. This book is one of the things that I would love for you to think about. This is one of my favorite teachers. I was very privileged to say that Thich Nhat Hanh was one of my teachers, and peace is every step is something which will, I think, make a tremendous difference in your lives, because what I think we need to do is to change our perception about life and about our own lives and our own part in it. That's all we need to do, is just change our perception of what constitutes food, what constitutes something that is drinkable, that's potable. Find out what it is that you have missed in your life so far. Have you ever had, for example, a very delicious, nutritious cantaloupe juice? Have you ever munched for an entire meal on grapes? Have you ever found time to listen to yourself within? Have you ever spent time under a tree or lying on the grass, just looking up at the sky and the sun and the moon and the stars, and just allowed yourself to be? You know what I found when I was a child and I used to lay in the grass and just listen? I would hear my own heartbeat, and then I realized it was the beating of the earth. It was the heartbeat of the earth I was listening to, because my own heartbeat had synchronized with the heartbeat of the earth below me, that was below my body on which I was lying. It was one of the most magnificent pleasures of my life growing up to have done that. It's time for us all to get back to our childhood and do the things that really mattered to us then. So I invite you to reconsider the things that in your childhood you've let go of and maybe return to them. And one of the books I'm going to remind you of is The Return of Spirit. And this is why I say go back to your childhood and return to some of the things that really mattered to you and made a difference. So if you're female, I really strongly suggest this book. Please take some time just for yourself to sit down and read it. Or if you're male, or female too for that matter, you might prefer The Warrior Athlete if you've not read it before, or if you've already read it and you wish to return to it. This one is by Dan Millman, and I strongly suggest that you read it, because here in The Warrior Athlete, Dan Millman teaches how to develop physical, mental, and emotional skills, not just for sports, but for life. And he talks about how to reduce stress, increase energy, and avoid injuries. But mostly, he speaks about the power of awareness as a teacher. So we need to change our perceptions. And I'm going to, one of my favorite teachers, Eric Butterworth, Spiritual Economics, strongly suggesting that you read this. If you're feeling that your finances are such a horrible state right now, and you're using that to really dictate how you live your life, and you're in a state of tremendous anxiety around that, take some time. Go to the library if you cannot afford to purchase this book, and just borrow this and read it and reread it and reread it and reread it until your perception changes. Now, one of the books I've already recommended here in these elegantly raw tidbits was the book The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galway. This was one of the books that we were actually asked to read before we started our training as movement therapists. And this book has so influenced me all my life. This is not just about the actual game of tennis, but the inner game we play, and the going back and forth in life. It's one of the most amazing books, and I strongly suggest it. But if you don't want to read anything like that, you just want to read something humorous and have a great laugh, because laughter is important. You need to start laughing. If you find yourself in the depths of depression and anxiety, and it's taken a strong hold over you, you need laughter. This is a book that I found when I was in India. One of the most outrageously funny books. If you like the British sense of humor, this person is Indian, is in India, and he wrote this really incredibly funny book, I think. And it's quite a great read, and an amazing amount of reasons to laugh, just in peals of laughter from the belly up. That will just restore some sanity back into your lives, being able to laugh like that. Laugh at yourself. Look at yourself and think about yourself 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when you look back. Are you going to say, why was I so depressed, and why was I feeling so worthless and so full of disdain for myself and for everyone else around me and for life itself? Ooh, why didn't somebody open me up and say to me, this is just a moment in time? Well, I'm saying to you now, this is just a moment in time. Do not give all your energies to it. Move on, move on. Feel what you need to feel right now. Look at what you need to look at, and pick yourself up and get right back on the train. The train to healing, to living a life of tremendous abundance from within, not without, but from within, because eventually that will flow outwards, and the abundance outwards will also be magnified. So I invite you to change your perception. This is all about changing our perception. So do something where you can laugh every day. Maybe you need to just spend some time with a cat, laughing at a cat. Maybe you need to spend some time with a child, with a baby. Maybe you go into your neighbor who's very frustrated because he or she is just exhausted from taking care of the baby's needs. Maybe you just go and spend an hour helping them to take care of that baby, and just look at the world through that baby's eyes. So there's so much we can do. Do something for others. One of the most important things we can do is to give of ourselves. That changes our perspective immediately, and our energies start being raised, and we begin to have a whole different perspective of who we are in this life, and our worthiness, or very worthiness, just by being alive, not by what we do, but just because we are in these bodies right now. Your worthiness will then be revealed to you, because you will begin to realize that you are much more than what you've thought so far, and you are a magnificent being who's capable of switching everything with just one thought. Do not let your mind run amok and take you to places where you have no business being anyway, because you have won the lottery. The fact that you're here on earth in a body means you won the lottery. So take advantage of it. Please click the subscribe button below and the notification button so we can continue with these tete-a-tetes. If you'd like to take part in it, please write in the comments below. And I'd love to have your own suggestions of books to read as well. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to more with you right here at the same time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And remember, you are worth